Another verse. In Karaman, Isela's dance has been joined by the Fist of the Mountains, the Tusks, and the valiant Pegasus, the latter having come straight from fighting the scions of the Cold Sun in Maiaran. The Red-Winged Corsairs have marched east and south to join the fight against the Grendel in Modruga. Each of the 4 Imperial armies here is accompanied by a cohort of the Knights of Glory, supernatural warriors drawn from the Summer Realm, from the fields of Eleonaris herself. In the mountains of Serra de Mata, a tower of black ice is raised by Imperial magicians, called from the realm of Eleonaris' rival, the Mistress of Ice and Darkness. Garrisoned by blue-skinned folk with thick-tined antlers, there is little love lost between them and the elfin knights loyal to the Lady of the Penance. The Ice Warriors keep to Serra de Mata, protecting the peaks there, pressing the orcs whenever they try to approach the borders, and approach the forces accompanying the Imperial armies. Almost matching the Knights of Summer in number are warriors fighting beneath the banners of Imperial captains, drawn from many nations, but with a strong contingent of highborn and winterfolk among them. Almost all fight with the valiant Pegasus, with a single Navarre contingent choosing instead to fight with Isela's dance. While 3 armies press west to attack the invaders, the Tusks favour a more defensive strategy. They focus on exploiting the flaws in the enemy strategy, and it may well be that the soldiers' enthusiasm for the furlough in Mornwald the general has promised them gives these disciplined soldiers even more reason to ensure that the Empire is victorious in Karaman this season. Against them are the armies of the Lysambrian Jotun, the Hierro, the Corajon, and the Ascuta, and their Skjalde-born allies. The 1,000-strong warband of Yantan Thetrason still supports the Hierro. Their standards may depict all sorts of weapons and tools, but jammed atop each is the horned skull of a massive dire ram. These would-be champions, many the scions of former thralls, represent a new generation of warriors. Orcs only recently of age drawn from Lysambria and Narkist. Their leader was once a shepherd, now answering the call of his ancestors to take up weapons and seek a path across the abyss. Many of these young warriors bear magic weapons from Barian, or blessings from Cathan Kane and Eleonaris, gifts of the Summer Eternals who stand as patrons of this youthful band of heroes. There's little change to the barbarian strategy this season. While 3 armies strive to complete their conquest of the Jade Range, the Corajon raid across the Cinnabar Hills, seizing whatever wealth they can find, engaging in swift strikes against Imperial forces, and withdrawing as soon as they face serious resistance. Much of that resistance comes from the Tusks. While the Corajon are able to launch some successful raids against caravans passing through Sierra Briante, they are unable to rob the people of the grasslands or threaten the labourers working on the Camcrag. There are multiple clashes across the territory, including another pitched battle in the grasslands west of Royota. Last season, the Ascuta and the Skjaldeborn faced off against Isela's Dance and the Red-Winged Corsairs. This season, however, they face not only the Navarre army but their highborn, Wintermark and Marcher allies. The Lysambrians are pushed back decisively, but the Empire pays a heavy price. More than 500 soldiers died pushing the invaders away from the settlement. It looks though as if the new armies will overwhelm the invaders. They are outnumbered after all. Then, the Lysambrian Jotun receive reinforcements of their own. Down out of Liathaven into Braden's Jassy comes 2 more Jotun armies, Bear Who Swims and Roaring Thunder. Alongside the bear are several thousand magical warriors, Lithe, orc-like creatures with a leonine cast to their features, in crimson chain and wrapped in ivory white and sun-gold furs from animals found nowhere in the mortal realm. Eleonaris does not play favourites with her gifts. The Roaring Thunder have allies of their own, some 5,000 warriors fighting under the banner of the Jarl of Alftanes, the Guardians of Kirheim, and the walrus banner of the human Yagara, Isa Winterborn. They pause briefly at the great mound raised to honour those who fell at Fort Breydon, then press south through the Yassi. Their attack is measured, careful, probing. They clearly seek to flank the Imperial defenders, but also to test their commitment to protecting Caraman. If not for the foresight of the Tusks, they might have taken the Empire by surprise. As it is, the defensive strategies of the Marcher army provide just enough warning of this second force of Western Orcs. Battle is joined not far from where Fort Breydon once stood. It also helps that, thanks to Imperial heroes, the new General of the Bear Who Swims does not have the confidence of many of her champions thanks to losing her banner during the spring equinox. If not for that setback, it's likely the army's strategy would have been considerably more aggressive, and much more effective at seizing Breydon's Jassy. The Jotun decision to split the attack strikes some Imperial commanders as foolish at first, but they have reckoned without the prowess of the Bear Who Swims. The Northern Army are adept at attacking into unfamiliar territory. They lead the way south out of Liathaven, seeking to establish a second beachhead and potentially cut the Freeborn territory off from the marches. The Empire is likewise forced to split its forces, just as the Jotun have done, with half of the Fist of the Mountain's forces rallying to support the Tusks, while the remaining Winterfolk and the Highborn and Navarre armies continue to put pressure on the Lysambrians in the west. As the season grinds on, so does the war here. Yet it's clear that despite the Jotun surprise assault from the north, the Empire has the upper hand. The Jotun are held in the Yassi and pushed back in the Jade Range. As the Lysambrian Jotun line starts to crumble and they are forced to retreat again and again, more of the Imperial soldiers are able to join the fighting in the north. The Jotun are forced to give more ground. In the end, there is no climactic battle. If anything, there is an air of resignation. The armies in the west retreat through the woods back into Rhinos. The armies in the north fail to seize their beachhead and are pushed back into Liathaven. Caraman is liberated again. Work can be completed on the Camcrags and the new roads, assuming the Orcs do not manage to take any territory in Jade Range before the autumn equinox. The price has been steep, however. Nearly 3,500 Imperial soldiers are dead or unable to fight again. Where possible, both sides allow the other to retrieve their fallen, so a true tally of how many Orcs fell in Caraman is impossible, but estimates suggest that the barbarians lost almost as many as the Empire. If the two armies marching out of Liathaven have been less careful in their advance, if the Tusks had not anchored the defence, the butcher's bill would have likely been higher. There is even some doubt as to whether the Empire would even have been victorious. Game information. Only military units who supported the valiant Pegasus in Caraman received shares of the Imperial Guerdon. A standard military unit receives 5 shares, with additional ranks from upgrades or enchantment providing an additional share each. The Roads and Camcrags project is nearly complete. Assuming that Jade Range remains in Imperial hands, and nothing else interferes with the building work or the labourers, it will be finished by the start of the autumn equinox. The Korojan ability to raid Caraman is restricted by the presence of armies and the defensive strategy of the Tusks, but they do have some success. They impact the production of the Great Mine of Briante, the Dalmatian Cliffs, and the Red Depths. The cliffs have lost 5 wains of white granite, the mine has lost 4 wains of mithril, and the Red Depths has lost 3 Waynes to the Korojan Raiders.